I was saying, y'all, Rico from StreetScores, and breaking news. Terry McLaurin has officially ended his holdout. Is there a new contract coming soon? He has not signed a new contract yet. It's not like he signed his contract. He's pulling up to practice and do everything. We're going to dive into everything because apparently there's an injury. He is reported to camp finally for the first time, and there's this apparent injury. They've made roster moves. They even had to release a guy now that Terry McLaurin has finally shown up to the team. We're going to dive into everything and more, why this is a positive move into the right direction and getting closer to potentially getting Terry McLaurin signed long term, and why we should be excited about the fact that he's around the facilities, potentially rehabbing around the players and coaches, all of that. We're going to dive into everything and more, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all for supporting every video. I know I just came out with that big time stadium update video and the breakdown of Stephen A. Smith saying that the Commanders and Ravens should share a stadium. Make sure you go check out that video if you haven't already, but we're here to talk about this and then dive into this one. And without further ado, let's go and dive into this video right now. I'm gonna have y'all updated on everything that goes down in training camp. I'm gonna show y'all the clips from the practices. We're gonna break down every position group, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, all the way through the defense, special teams, all of that. So stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. Well, there you have it. All-pro wide receiver Terry McLaurin is finally back in Commanders land. Ashburn, Virginia, at the facilities and all of that. Terry McLaurin has finally reported to camp. You know, he's a little less than a week late, but hey, he's here. The Commanders have officially reinstated wide receiver Terry McLaurin from the reserve did not report list, but now they have placed him on the active physically unable to perform list with an ankle injury. I believe Samuel Cosmi's already on that list as well, and because of that move, they ended up having to cut cornerback Fentrell Cypress, an undrafted free agent rookie, and again, they had to release a player to make this move for Terry McLaurin, so it must be worth it in some way. I mean, we're not just talking about any player, but a player that I felt like had at least a small shot to compete for a roster spot. I think even as an undrafted free agent, he has some serious talent. I guess he wasn't turning enough heads as far as where we've been early on in the offseason, early on in the training camp, but I'm sure another team is going to scoop him up immediately. I bet right now another team is going to scoop him up. But my point is, if they're willing to cut a young, talented corner like Fentrell Cypress, that means that this Terry move is real. This is serious progress towards Terry getting somewhere with the contract. Shouts out to Ian Rappaport. He's even tweeting about it. Like, this is big news. This is the breaking news of the morning right now across the entire NFL. And even Dan Quinn told reporters that he's really pumped and that Terry McLaurin has finally shown up despite Terry not practicing yet without a new deal. They'll continue to talk to his agent and attempt to work one out. I wonder if his agent pulled up. Is it just Terry McLaurin by himself and not his agent? Who knows? I thought it was really interesting too. Is there a timing to this? Is this deliberate for Terry McLaurin to do this and finally pull up the first day that fans are allowed at practice? So now he's going to try to get the fans involved and make this more of an emotional attachment type of thing to get everybody all riled up, like I'm here, but I'm not practicing for real until they pay me. And he's going to do it in front of the fans while the fans are actually at the practice. I don't know. This could have been strategic and deliberate from Terry McLaurin and his agent. We'll see. But Dan Quinn, also talking about the situation, said Terry McLaurin is officially reported. So we're happy about that. He also added that McLaurin will start on the PUP list with an ankle injury, so he'll be working with the trainers, and the front office is continuing to work on a new deal for the star receiver. Dan Quinn also said that he spoke to Terry McLaurin yesterday, but he would not answer if McLaurin will start practicing with his ankle once it's finally healed. And of course, this is right now officially a hold-in. Not a holdout anymore, but a hold-in. We're going to talk about the difference very soon, like the difference in money especially. But Quinn said that he even spoke about the fact that there's no resentment over Terry McLaurin's holdout for him having to miss reporting to camp the first day and 3 days worth of practice. But now that is officially ended today, and that his focus is, quote, keeping the main thing between the players and the coaches, unquote, from Dan Quinn, of course. And he also said that Terry McLaurin seemed, quote, very much like himself, unquote, when seeing him today, and took time to check in with the man, the guy outside of football. And so I'm happy to hear that Terry McLaurin is in good spirits. Of course, there is no contract signed yet. There may not even necessarily be one today or this week, but we've made enough progress to where Terry McLaurin is finally showing up to practice. And when he spoke to Dan Quinn, man to man, chilling outside of football wise, Dan Quinn said that he seems like his typical self. He seems happy. I'm assuming he didn't seem like what he looked like during that Easter Motors interview, where, I mean, I've never seen Terry McLaurin that disgusted. So I'm just happy to hear that Terry McLaurin's back to himself. Maybe we've made some major leaps as far as contract negotiations. It may not be done yet, but maybe there was some serious progress. And Adam Schefter even tweeting about it. He said, now we go from a holdout to a hold in. Again, Terry McLaurin is expected to be at practice today. He's now on the PUP list. There's no contract extension update. He's here. But now, most importantly, the difference between a holdout and a hold in is that he will no longer be fined. A holdout, you're literally nowhere near the facilities, even though he was like 10 minutes away, according to some people, with that yoga thing. He took the picture with the fan and everything like that. So he was always around. He was always local. Remember, Trey Hendrickson, he was in Cincinnati for the past couple of months. As soon as training camp started, he went back home in Florida. Like, that was deliberate and on purpose. That was clearly, I don't want to be around y'all while training camp's going around. I don't even want people catching me off guard, asking me questions. I don't want to be taking pictures with fans like Terry McLaurin just did and all of that type of stuff. So Terry's different. It's never gotten to that point. He hasn't requested a trade. You know, remember Jamar Chase last year was holding out pretty much the entire Bengals off season. We're nowhere near as bad in any of those points. Remember, Myles Garrett literally wrote an entire letter basically saying I'm out. Not even some I'm requesting a trade. No, it was like I've mentally and emotionally moved on. Thanks for everything. I'm out type of thing. He still ended up signing an extension. So this Terry McLaurin situation is nowhere near as bad as a lot of people are panicking. I know it's our situation, so it seems like it's the entire world, but it's nowhere near as bad as a lot of people think, or at least are acting like it is. But again, the difference between a holdout and a hold in, you know, he's been missing practices. He missed 3 days worth of practice in the first day of reporting, but now he'll be at the practices, at the facilities just like everybody else, but he will not be practicing and participating like everybody else. He will not be catching passes from Jaden Daniels unless they just do it randomly at the end of practice or before practice. But when it comes to real practice, putting the helmets on and everything like that, he will not be participating. But I don't know, man. This seems like an excuse and a workaround to allow Terry to not get fined while also not practicing as they work towards a deal. So maybe they came up with that strategy to kind of do him a favor a little bit while they're going through contract negotiations. Because, man, he just didn't like having to eat those daily $50,000 fines, it seems like to me. He is already up to $200,000 worth of fines just by missing 3 days of training camp practices and the day that the veterans reported to training camp before they started practicing. They didn't even practice yet. That day counts too. And just to let y'all know, only players that are still on their rookie contracts can get fines waived by their teams if their teams choose to do so after they sign their guys. And Terry is clearly still not on this rookie deal at all. He's now trying to get to his third one, but he's already on his second. So even if the team wanted to waive those fines for him, they literally can't. And Terry, I guess, got sick of seeing those fines add up. Again, he's already up to $200,000 from missing 4 days. 1 day of reporting, 3 days of practicing. And shouts out to Seawall Sports, though. She said that Terry McLaurin did seem like he was dealing with an ankle injury situation that was lingering towards the end of last season, and maybe he just hasn't fully recovered from that. But honestly, getting back to me, Rico of StreetScores, he never really looked like he was dealing with any ankle injury when he was practicing with the team alongside Deebo Samuel during the first 1.5 phases of voluntary OTAs. So I'm a little suspicious of all this, definitely keeping one eye open, like, all right, Terry, if you say so. But at the end of the day, at least he's at the facilities with everybody. Even if this is just some workaround, this is a finesse of the system, hey, at least he's there. I mean, and of course, we're going to get some clips that I'm going to show y'all later on today when I break down and show y'all everything that happened in practice today, like I mentioned earlier. And so in those clips, we're going to probably see some Terry on the sideline rehabbing or just chilling, or maybe even fake rehabbing. Maybe he's even going to force a limp. Maybe he's going to take it that far. Maybe he's going to become an award-winning actor to where even he looks like he has the ankle. Suddenly the contract is signed. He shows up to the very next practice, no ankle injury at all. I wouldn't be surprised. I really, truly believe in my core that this is just a workaround to where he doesn't keep getting fined. But of course, he's still not practicing because he's still holding his ground or not signing a contract or not practicing at least until he gets the contract that he wants. I mean, because honestly, even if all of this is just a workaround for Terry to avoid getting fined while they get closer to a new contract extension and an agreement, I mean, at the very least, this is still a big move in the right direction. Because at the very least, Terry is at the facilities. He's around the players and the coaches. He's mingling with everybody. He's laughing probably. He's going to be joking around, happy and all that type of stuff. I mean, at least he's in the area to negotiate with Adam Peters, possibly in person, maybe after practice. And a hold-in is way better for us than a holdout. At least he's there. Again, Trey Hendrickson, as soon as training camp started, went from Cincinnati to Florida. I think he's from Orlando specifically, to avoid the Cincinnati Bengals in every way possible. And who knows? Maybe Terry gets a deal done by the end of the day. Just being super optimistic. Maybe by the end of the week. I'm not promising it. We could go into August without a Terry McLaurin deal done, even now that he's holding in and reporting to practice. But hey, man, you never know. At the very least, this is a move in towards a positive direction. Things did not get worse today with Terry McLaurin reporting to practice and going on the PUP list. Things did not get worse. If the only thing that could have happened is that things maybe got a little bit better. And just in case, if you missed everything, here's how we got here. Shouts out to Nikki Javala of the Washington Post. A week before the Commanders veterans were required to report to training camp, McLaurin spoke to reporters for more than 30 minutes after shooting a commercial for Eastern Motors Automotive Group in Laurel about his frustration and disappointment over his contract negotiations. Remember, he used those words specifically, frustration and disappointment. Never thought I'd hear Terry McLaurin say that about the Commanders organization, especially a post-Ron Rivera, Dan Snyder era of the Commanders. And then also, quote, everything that's transpired up to this point has been disappointing and frustrating. And that was an exact quote from him. He claimed that there had been no communication with the team about his contract in more than a month. And, quote, without any progressive discussions, it's kind of hard to see how I step on the field, unquote, in training camp. He already let you know before training camp even started, I'm going to be missing practices. Now, we didn't know if that meant holdout or hold in. It started as a holdout. Now it's a hold in. But that was crazy that Terry McLaurin said he hadn't spoken to the team for over like a month. Ever since like mandatory minicamp, maybe even further back than that, he had not spoken to the team about any contract stuff. So while we were all on vacation and chilling, everybody went their separate ways doing their own things. For some reason, Terry and Adam Peters just never talked. His agent, whoever, Brandon Salson and Lance Newmark, all of those guys, they just never talked. There was no progress made at all until I guess Adam Peters had his initial press conference to start a training camp alongside Dan Quinn, and he said then that they were talking to Terry McLaurin. So maybe they just started talking to him just a few days ago, like a week ago, less than a week ago. But either way, at least something's happened. If they started just talking to him like a week ago, and now he's already switching from a holdout to a hold in, again, that's progress. It may not be as much progress as we hope for at this point, but it's progress nonetheless. Also, McLaurin did not report, of course, July 22nd, and again, he missed 3 days worth of practices. So that's a total of 4 days he didn't report, which is $200,000 worth of fines. And McLaurin still has 1 year remaining on his 3-year extension he signed in 2022. So I see a lot of people that are angry, like, you're under contract. You need to be here practicing and playing. You know, you can get your extension later, but technically you're under oath to be playing and participating in practice for the Washington Commanders right now. A lot of people are saying that, and they're not necessarily wrong, but I'm definitely in the side, just pay Terry, man. Pay Terry so we can get this all over with. He will earn $19.7 million in total cash this season, which ranks 15th among receivers. But depending on how you look at it, when you're looking at annual value, he's technically the 17th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, which is criminal because he was second team All-Pro last year. And it's insane that he's his jersey number as far as ranking annual value money made on this current contract. He deserves way more than that. The wide receiver market has exploded in recent years and now includes 9 players who are averaging at least $30 million a year. And if you're second team All-Pro, I mean, that's the NFL saying you're a top 5 receiver. So for him to be 17th, and there are 9 guys making at least $30 million, it sounds like Terry McLaurin should be making at least $30 million. And then there was another quote from Terry McLaurin, quote, "I feel like I'm one of the best receivers in this league, and it's not because of just me feeling that way. I feel like I've proven it, and I'll continue to work hard to prove it," unquote. And like I've already said in previous videos, I know he's about to be 30 this year. He's going to turn 30 by September, so very early into the season. But he's not your typical 30-year-old. Typically, when a player in the NFL is 30 years old, they're going into like their 10th, maybe even their 11th season. Whereas Terry McLaurin is just going into his 7th, and he didn't get a lot of mileage in college. So before he even got to the NFL, he was still very fresh. Came into the NFL at 24. He's about to be 30 now, going into his 7th season. And on top of all of that, even if he is getting older, say his body is aging, maybe he's slowing down just a little bit. But again, like I've said before, I didn't see any sort of aging or decline in play at all last year. If anything, he started to get faster as the season went on. I mean, the Lions game, the Eagles game that we lost in the NFC Championship game where he broke that slant off for a touchdown, outrunning people. If anything, he started to get faster because he was getting shoestring tackled throughout the season. And as we got into the playoffs, I don't know, he found the fountain of youth, and that was like the fastest he was. Remember the first time we played the Cowboys? That miracle play towards the end that was almost as improbable as the Hail Mary to Noah Brown, but Austin Seibert just missed the PAT and it just ended up being all for nothing, and Austin Eckler got hurt and everything. That was just a chaotic situation. But my point is, McLaurin, if anything, started to get faster as the season went on. So I'm not worried about speed at all. But even if, say, for some reason, physically, he declines going into this season, worst case scenario, there is some decline. At the same time, a lot of his game is not predicated on his athleticism and speed. He's the best contested catch receiver according to a lot of stats. Several advanced stats that I've already given y'all in several videos the past couple of weeks. That doesn't necessarily require athleticism. He's a great route runner. Now, I know route running requires some level of athleticism to pull off a lot of it, but he has a lot of nuance. He knows leverage. He knows angles. He knows a lot of stuff that even big if there is some type of physical decline to his game going into this season or the next couple of seasons, he's still going to be a very productive receiver, and we need him to go win a Super Bowl this year. That's my whole point of view on it. Now, I understand why a lot of people are scared of paying him like $33+ million a year. I can understand being apprehensive of that, but I think he deserves like $30 million flat. And if the Commanders are offering him somewhere like 23 and 25 or whatever, like we've heard reports of, but I don't believe any of those reports. And if Terry McLaurin's asking for $33 million or somewhere around there, again, I don't believe those reports either. Maybe they can meet in the middle at like 28, 29 or something like that. We'll see. But again, this is like breaking news, even to the point that Adam Schefter tweeted about this twice. His second tweet, he said, Terry McLaurin reporting back to the Commanders should not be confused with progress on a deal. The two sides remain apart on a contract and will continue discussions aimed at a new deal. The $50,000 daily fines for McLaurin have come to an end. The contract impasse has not. Shouts out to Grant Paulson too. This is an interesting point. He said Terry McLaurin holding in is better than him holding out. But this mystery ankle injury makes you think he's not feeling like progress is being made. Feels like a way for him to continue to hold out without the fines. This always made more sense from his perspective, in my opinion anyway. I agree. Also, just to let you know, John Comm updated what the schedule is today. So you had the Dan Quinn pre-practice press conference interview. He already did that. Also, it's 80s, already very humid. It's only gonna get hotter throughout the day. Practice starts at 8 a.m. So I'm recording this right now at 7:58 a.m. So I'm gonna be a little late by the time I edit and upload this. But practice starts at 8 a.m. Sports Center's on site and everything. So Terry McLaurin, I don't know if he knew that, but he decided to pull up the first day that fans are allowed, and also the one specific day that Sports Center's pulling up. So I don't know, maybe that was strategic. And also Javon Kinlaw and Brian Robinson will speak post practice. Of course, I'll have y'all with those updates there. And also, before we go, if you're interested, here's a 1 minute and 35-second clip of Dan Quinn giving his thoughts on the whole Terry McLaurin reporting the practice situation. So I gave you some of the most important quotes, but if you want to actually see his body language, how his face looks, his emotions, or if you want to make sure you hear every single word that he had to say about Terry McLaurin, here you go for the next 1 minute, 35 seconds.
I said I'd provide some updates to you when I had them. So I do have an update. Terry McLaurin has reported, and we're very happy about that. He'll start the training camp on PUP for his ankle. So on the business side, AP and the guys are still working hard with Terry and his rep on the business side of things. So while on PUP, just like we do with the other guys, he'll be working with the trainers, to get back as soon as he can. So same scenario like Sam Cosme onto the side, working there. So wanted to give you the update, and glad to open up with questions for you guys to get rolling.
Well, first of all, how good for you is it that he's even here?
It was great, and I'm really pumped that he's here, man. He's such an awesome competitor. We had a chance to spend some time together yesterday, so yeah, it was great to see him.
What do you know about the ankle injury, the severity, and when he's okay, will he participate in practices?
We don't know much today, John. I'll have some more follow-up, the medical side and them doing the assessments and see where he's at. So we'll put a better timeline together once, he kind of goes through, see where he feels at. And the one thing that we know, we have a really good process for this. Like we had said it last year, if you remember, like protecting the player is protect the team. And so we follow it, we believe in it, and we also know that it works. A return to play and what that looks like. Sometimes it's just a short time, sometimes it's longer. So once we get all the information, we'll put the whole plan in place for him, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you about everything discussed in the video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. If you made it this far in the video, salute to you. Really appreciate you. Again, like I said, I would not be surprised if this whole ankle injury situation is just a workaround so he doesn't have to get fined and he can still hold in for a contract. I would not be surprised at all as soon as he gets his contract extension. What ankle injury? Who told you I had an ankle? I never had an ankle injury. Who told you that? You know what I'm saying? He's going to be right out there running like nothing ever happened. So I thought that was fun. I really think it's funny. I really think that's what's going on. But let me know how y'all feel. This is one of those, especially like one of these type of videos where I really want to know how y'all feel in the comment section. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points and opinions, any of my theories out there of what's going on for real. Let me know how you feel about this whole situation. Make sure you leave a like on the way out. I really appreciate y'all. And again, I'm still going to catch y'all later with my breakdown of everything that happens in training camp today. I'm going to upload the clips of everything that happened, all of the position groups, everything. Do breakdowns, who had a good day, bad day, everything. I tell y'all, I'm 100% transparent. Everything that I know, I tell y'all. So anything that like you're wondering about and I'm just not telling y'all, I just don't know. I'm not at the practices, so I'm just going off of every piece of information that I can find, and I just put it all together in videos for y'all. So I don't know, but I'm doing the best that I can. I really appreciate y'all. Leave a like on the way out. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.